Hey friends, and welcome to another Upcycled by Bri. The hair is up again today. You know what that means? We've got some work to do. We need to build some shelves for my displays. I want to demonstrate the Sweet Pickins milk paint, the new product line I'm carrying, and I also have a big reveal. You'll have to stick around to the end of the video for that. Now, if you're new around here, I've got a lot of new subscribers. Make sure you check me out on social media, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, all under Upcycled by Bri. I'll put everything down in the description box below so it's easy to find after the video. Also, be sure you subscribe and ring that little notification bell. That's gonna tell you every time I upload a new video, which right now is Thursday and Sunday. All right, the hair is up. We've got work to do. Let's go. I've been using one of these shelves to hold paint at Adam's. The other one's been in my office, but I knew I could give them a beautiful makeover very quickly and easily, and they'd be the perfect shelving for my Adam's location. I've got the same cleaner in my spray bottle that I normally use. Here's a picture of it up in the corner, and I'll link it down below. Naturally, I'm using DIY paint in White Swan today. I am going to roll the White Swan onto these flat surfaces today using a little mini furniture roller, and then I also have a Zibra triangle brush. One coat rolled on each piece, and the good news is by the time I got that coat done, this one is dry and I can move right on to coat 2. Isn't that right? This piece has had 2 coats. Look at that amazing coverage. This is not a paint where you're going to need 3 and 4 coats. I'm using my Continual mist spray bottle to dampen the piece before I hit the edges and the corners. That's going to help my paint move on the piece a lot easier, and it will help my paint go a little bit further as well. Two coats and just a tiny touch up here or there. I like to call it 2 1/4 coats. And this is looking fabulous. I cleaned up those shelves where I dripped paint just a little bit, but I didn't worry about cleaning them too much yet, because now I'm going to use my orbital sander and distress back these amazing details. I've got 220 grit sandpaper here on my orbital craftsman sander, and I am hitting the corners, the edges, places where the piece might naturally be distressed over time. You've seen me use it in clear. I can link that video right up here, but today I'm using Sweet Pickins oil wax in white. Look how pretty this is. It's going to give this orangey shelf a beautiful whitewashed look. I'm applying it with a chip brush in long, even strokes over the entire piece, and I will let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. You can see that wood is already soaking up the oil wax really well. And remember when I said there is a gnat in here? That's gnat cool. Remember when I said I wasn't too worried about the white paint on the wood? Because I knew I was going to be doing this. Got 1 coat of oil wax on all the shelves here on my very professional workbench. Took me about 15 minutes to get them all done, so we're gonna come back here and check this first one. Sitting for about 15 minutes, and this is one I did about 4 or 5 minutes ago. So you can see as that product sits, it really soaks in. Now I'm just gonna take my Viva paper towel here, which is really good about not leaving any residue, and we're just gonna wipe this back. And it is working exactly as I had hoped, giving it that beautiful limed, almost whitewashed appearance. It really dulls down that orangey tone without a lot of extra work. So this is what it looks like after it's been wiped back once. You can see how that oil wax really got down in the grooves. Using DIY clear wax on the body of this piece. It is so easy to apply, super buttery smooth. I'll be applying it with a regular wax brush using long, even strokes. And a quick reminder of what this piece looked like before. It was okay, but check out what these shelves look like now. They're gonna look much better in my booth. The white distressed paint is classic, and the orangey pine shelves are no longer. The sweet Pickins oil wax worked wonderfully in toning down these shelves. I love the way they turned out. What do you think? Leave me a comment below. Moving right into project number 2, I had a couple wooden ladders in my garage taking up room, and they make easy, quick inventory for my booths. I'm using my Craftsman jigsaw and cutting the tops off of these ladders. That will give me a total of 4 blanket ladders. A lot of times people ask me where I get the metal accessories that I use on things like my decor boards. So these little pieces are perfect if I can get them off intact. We will see how it goes. Different ways to get these off. Sometimes they come off easy, sometimes they don't. Today they didn't. So I bent the metal back and forth a million times until it broke. And I got about 47 splinters, so I highly recommend wearing long sleeves. Time to pick a color for the ladder. I've got all of my favorite colors in the Sweet Pickins line here in the gallon sizes. I was thinking basil would be good, or creamy. I think today I'm gonna go with creamy. Nice bright color for the spring season. I'm going to grab my Immersion Blender and my milk paint jar. I like to keep a couple glass jars and these measuring cups separate for my milk paint because, as you can see, it does not clean up as easy as the DIY line. Half a cup of warm water goes into our jar, and then I like to clean my measuring cup out before putting my powder in it. Otherwise, you end up with this. It's a 1-to-1 ratio of paint to water. And you're gonna want your final consistency to be that of a milkshake. Highly recommend an Immersion Blender. It is a game changer when it comes to the consistency and mixing your paint properly. I got mine off of Amazon, and I will link that in the description box below. All right, our milk paint is blended up. You can see it still looks a little thin, but we're gonna let it sit for a few minutes. Always let your milk paint sit for just a few before you start painting. While we wait, I wanna talk a little bit about the Extra Bond. Extra Bond is an additive that is going to help the milk paint adhere to slick surfaces. Today I am painting this old raw wood ladder. Since it is raw wood, I'm not gonna add any bond. I want to get some good chippiness. Raw wood will take the milk paint perfectly fine without any chipping. I got just the right amount of chippiness that I wanted on this piece. If I were painting a shiny piece or a piece of furniture, I would be using the Extra Bond. So make sure when you're using it for the first time that you practice on something small, or that you go ahead and just use your Extra Bond. Better safe than sorry. One coat's on, time to apply coat number 2, and you can see when this milk paint is mixed up properly, it is foamy and luscious. It's not running and dripping all over the place. So if you've been blending it with a fork, I highly recommend getting an Immersion Blender. The consistency is so much better. I went to put my drop cloth down so I don't make a huge milk paint mess. And somebody thinks it's for her. That nice spot right there? Well, I guess I'll go grab another drop cloth. I've got 120 grit on my orbital sander. We're gonna hit the corners and the edges. You know the drill. Let's distress back where this piece would have naturally worn over time. Paint. See, not a lot of chipping and crackling, just a tiny touch. I didn't need the Extra Bond for this project, but next time I will do a project where I use it so you can see how it's done. Here's what the piece looks like after it's been sanded back. Isn't it gorgeous? The sandpaper took off just enough paint. The milk paint looks so authentically old and chippy. I just can't get over it. This is why I love Sweet Pickins milk paint. So I recently joined Dion Wood's Creative Connection group. I think it's the Turquoise Iris Creative Connection group on Facebook. I followed her as long as I followed Debbie and Jamie, and am always inspired. Now our April challenge is to do a splatter project, any kind of splatter project we want. And I thought, what better splatter project than to use this ladder, because most ladders are covered in paint. I'm going to look through some DIY colors I have here in my office, and we're gonna find some good vintage colors that will go with my own home decor. So my DIY order comes in on Tuesday, which is the 13th, I do believe, of April, and I'm out of apothecary, but I'm going to take a little bit of mint chip, mix in with a little pedal pusher, and we're gonna see if I can get closer to apothecary. Mint chip is just a little bright for what I'm wanting today. And then for my perfect vintagey yellow, I actually grabbed a Sweet Pickins color, which is a lemon drop. Some mint chip with our very official paint can opener. Shh, don't tell Chad. It's fine. I love the way these colors look together. The milk paint and lemon drop got mixed up the same way I mixed up creamy. And again, I did not add any extra bond this time. I took a peek at the unpainted ladder for a little inspiration on the drips, and we are going to have some fun. I started by pouring a little bit of paint to mimic the paint dripping out of a can from up above. I smeared a couple of the drips with my palette knife to mimic the paint being stepped in, and look, it's also a paint catapult. And my very favorite splattering tool to date has to be this mixer. Watch how I used it. This is entirely too much fun. I had some extra paint left over, and after being inspired by Christy Lunsford of Grannas Vintage Nest, she recently did a dresser where she used paintbrush handles as the drawer pulls. Genius! But I wanted to fancy up a couple of old, worn out chip brushes and see where this inspiration may lead me. I'll be sure to link Christy's info down below so you can check out that gorgeous dresser. Digging this. Anybody else sing when they're excited? And if you notice, these colors here kind of work with those colors there. I'm going to use this ladder as a replacement for the short one over here. You just can't see it very well over the couch. Before I put it up, I am going to be using some of the Sweet Pickins waxes. Just like the DIY line, there is white, clear, dark, and black. The big containers are just the retailer sizes, but look how pretty the Sweet Pickins packaging is on those little containers. Grooves. You can get a little bit down in those grooves. Put a little extra clear wax down before I use the dark wax. It will act as a little bit of a barrier, will help me be able to control the dark wax better. And if I mess up, I just rub a little clear wax over the dark wax and it acts as an eraser, just like the DIY line. From boring old wooden ladder to a beautiful, distressed, chippy, drippy piece of home decor. I love my new blanket ladder. What do you guys think? Would you buy one of these? If the latter doesn't impress her, maybe the big reveal will. I realized since I already had my Jamie Ray bun in today, this would be the perfect day to reveal the first product, can you hear it? That I'll be carrying from Jamie's line. It is decoupage paper. A few of you got it right, a few of you didn't, but guess what? There's more coming. I can't put it all in one video. Look at this gorgeous paper. All the sheets are 30 by 20 and it's 18-pound paper. The weight of the paper just is the thickness. So 18 pounds is thin, which is great for decoupaging. And the sheets are so large that they are great for furniture. Today we're gonna start small. We're gonna work on a wood round that I found in my stash. I hesitated because I couldn't remember exactly where I got this, but I will link some down in my Amazon shop for you if you don't know where to find any. I've got a 320 grit sandpaper. We are going to really smooth out this wood and get it ready for the decoupage paper, and then we'll take it back upstairs. I'm going to start by painting a white base coat on my wood round. That's going to help the decoupage paper really pop. I could 100% put it over the raw wood and it would give a much more softer effect. But I want to see that beautiful teal damask pattern, so we're going to do one coat, nice thick coat of White Swan. I used my Wagner heat gun to finish drying the paint. I'm a little impatient. I'm ready to see this paper. Let's talk real briefly about my decoupage medium. Today I'm going to be using the Secret Sauce DIY Liquid Patina. This product is amazing. It's a transfer gel, top coat, and decoupage medium. But you can use whatever top coat you prefer. The Sweet Pickins top coat is a gorgeous matte finish, while the DIY Big Top is gonna give you a little bit more of a sheen. If you have Mod Podge at home or polyacrylic, but this is going to make the job super easy. Again, all natural and VOC free. I will only be needing a corner of this huge sheet of paper, so for only $6, you guys are getting multiple projects out of one piece, depending on what you're decoupaging. What an amazing deal. I'm applying a thin layer of the liquid patina over my wood round, just using a disposable sponge brush. I'll hover my paper just over, make sure my pattern is where I want it. We'll press it down, and then I'm going to use my IOD brayer. If you don't have one of these, I can link a similar product in my Amazon shop below. We're gonna start from the middle and work our way out, pushing out any of those little air bubbles. And don't worry, you might see a few bumps and wrinkles. It will dry smooth. I'm gonna trim off a little bit of this extra paper around the edges. I wrinkled it up and I was thinking I should probably just start saving all of these little trimmings. Another coat of liquid patina. Notice at the end how I'm kind of going around the edges and making sure the paper is pressed down very well. Now that the paper is dry, you can see the wrinkles are gone. It feels smooth to the touch, but you can still see, you can see the line. The line almost gave it a distressing from where it was wrinkled, which I am loving. Like I said, this is my first time ever really doing a professional decoupage paper. I'm sure there are ways to make it completely smooth. So if you do decoupage, drop me some comments below about how you get it completely smooth. You can see what a nice crisp line that's giving me. So I'm just taking, this is probably about a 120, maybe 220, and sanding it down around the edge, and it's ripping it right off for me. Nice. And I know there are a million ways to decoupage and to apply it and to tear it, and I am so excited to try all the things. I figured I would start with something very basic, and I'm glad I did. Can you imagine this on the front of drawers with a beautiful teal or white dresser? Oh, gorgeous. I'm just gonna use a damp paper towel to clean up the back of my wood round. Since DIY paint is water soluble until it's sealed, this cleanup is super simple. I'm adding a coat of darkened Decrepit to the bottom of this piece just to seal in the wood and to give it a nice finished look. I will link a video up above here with a more in-depth tutorial on the darkened Decrepit. I'm sealing up the edges of this piece with some DIY white wax and then some of this gorgeous turquoise Shipwrecked wax. This paper is gorgeous and it was so easy to use. I cannot wait to try it out on a piece of furniture. Stay tuned for that super soon. I had so much fun making today's video. I got to make something for myself. We got to look at the brand new Sweet Pickins milk paint line and play with the brand new decoupage papers. It doesn't really get any better than that. Again, if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. I've got even more new exciting things on the way. Until next time, I will see you later. Bye, friends.